Welcome to Living from the Heart. I am your host, Tina Thrussell, woman who dances with light. I'm the co-founder of Best You Can Be and a messenger of the Shin, the way of the heart. The way of the heart is the way of living with love, kindness, and compassion for all life, for yourself. And when you have that love, kindness, and compassion for yourself, it can flow out into the world. And ultimately, as a Shin Taoist, that's what I want to see, a loving, peaceful world. And I am about to bring on board to the show today a loving woman by the name of Adele Bernard, who, like many of us, has gone through life facing some ups and downs and some definite fears about fully being who we really are and stepping into the gifts that we hold. And it was quite delightful when she contacted me and said, I think I'm finally ready to speak. Can I be on your show? And I thought that courage must be rewarded, that taking the step to step forward, to step beyond that fear. And so we'll talk about that a little bit today. And before we do that, I would like to invite you to receive Heart and Mind Matters. Every other Tuesday morning, we produce an easing with an inspirational article, an uplifting quote, YouTube video, and it's just intended as a feel-good experience in your week. It's complimentary, and you can receive that by subscribing at either of our websites, bestyoucanbe.ca, BEST, the letter U, CAN, the letter B.ca, or at shindao.com, where you'll find the philosophy of living the way of the heart, SHIND as in Donald, AO.com. Now, without further ado, I'm going to bring onto the screen my guest, Adele Bernard. Welcome, Adele. Good morning. Lovely to have you here today.
It's great to be here.
So, Adele, we met at Unity of Calgary, a spiritual community that encourages us to be conscious and to be aware that what we think is what we bring into our lives, and what we're seeing in the world around us is a reflection of what we're thinking about and what we're doing within ourselves. And I'm guessing that this coming to the place of going, wow, I've kind of been hiding, I've been in fear, might be influenced by that, but I don't want to put words into your mouth. So tell me, what's brought you to this place of going,
Well, it's been a journey that I've done my whole entire life. I consider myself an empathic, intuitive, mystical healer. And so from a young child, I've always been able to feel energy and see energy. But I never thought about putting it on a big scale. And 10 years back, I'd done the whole thing like, oh, you have to have a website, you have to do this. And so I did all that. And I never got any clients from it. And so I shut it down because I'm like, why am I doing all this? Because I've always kind of had clients throughout my whole entire life, like whether they were actually set up to pay or I got stuff in return because of what I did to help them with. I thought, well, I'll just keep doing that. And then back in February, I guess, in my dreams and my meditations, it's like, you have to go on the world scale. And I'm like, what does that mean? Take a small step. I'm like, what does that mean? And then you popped up. Okay. So what this all means, I really don't know yet, but I'm in the process of rebuilding a website. I just have my Facebook page up right now just to start again. And I've never stopped working with people. I've never, and I always found that if people needed me, the universe always put them in front of me. Because I can tell you, like, I've been in rooms of 3,500 people and someone will be put in front of me, and I'll be like, oh, I guess you need me. We'll leave the room, we'll do what we need to do, we come back in the room. I don't find them. I don't find any of my clients. I've never have. I just know they show up when they need to work with me.
So
And
that's
does
a
that
place.
mean everyone's going to work with me? Absolutely not. But I trust who's supposed to find me will find me.
You just used the word. I was going to say that sounds like that's being in a place of trust.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I didn't realize how much trust and faith I do have in what is being provided at all times to me until the world shut down with this COVID.
Mm.
Because I'm like, I see all the fear around me, and I'm like, guys, this is our rebirth. We've been asking for this, right? We have been put on this earth to help the earth go through this shift as a conscious collective. And I think the timing of this show couldn't be better because, just on a side note, the full moon this month on Friday, the messages I'm getting are say yes again to the contract you've agreed to by taking a human form.
Mm.
There's a huge shift happening this full moon that won't happen again for another, I think it was like 58 years. And it's saying it needs that push to keep going. So I think it's perfect timing. And then I also noticed we're in show 40, and I'm all about the 4 stability.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
And then so, you bring up the stability and the inner gifts, and it's like, of course it's show 40. It couldn't have been a better time. Right?
Trust, absolute trust,
Total
right?
trust.
And synchronicity and the little signs. So for our viewers and listeners, what I am hearing you say is that there's been this knowing that you have this gift and that you've always trusted that people will come along.
Yeah.
At some point, you decided to try to make things happen with it. So you set up the website, but really nothing happened from that.
Well, I met a lot of great people, and yes, I did get clients out of it, but never from the website.
Yeah.
Right? And so I even to this day, I'm going, why am I building it? Right? And so I'm doing it slowly because I'm trying to understand. Yes, everyone has websites, but do we truly use them yet? No. Right? And maybe I'm still old-fashioned about, even if there is a website for whatever store or whatever, I still want to phone you. I still go to your website just to get your phone number. So like, I'm still old school. I still want to phone, right? So, yeah.
And it's likely that's who you're going to attract in your life.
Yeah.
Right? Those who are a match for you, which is maybe a really good message for people to hear, that despite all of the advice out there, maybe you need to do what's right for you and what feels right for you. That's really what living from the heart is about.
Well,
right?
Living with the heart, like, I mean, clients keep on telling me, like, I've never been seen like you've seen me. Like, I've never had that heart connection that it doesn't matter what I say or how crazy it sounds. You get it. You feel me. I feel safe when I'm talking to you. Right? And just for instance, I was talking to a potential client the other day, and I've always had a dislike to my voice because I always found it was so, like, manly, even though I'm a woman. And he made the comment of, like, oh, I could listen to you all day. Like, it's so soothing to me. And I'm like, oh, thanks for the universe. Because it happened a few days while I'm stressing about coming on here for the first time going live, per se. And I'm like, okay, well, some people like my voice. I don't need to. Right? Whoever resonates with my voice will call.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They put in front of me, and I have to honor that, and I have to trust that if you're put in front of me, then we're supposed to work together.
Nice. That's a nice message for people. When you just relax into accepting who you are, being who you are, going with the flow of what the universe seems to be providing and guiding.
Yeah.
When you trust the people will be there, that you're there to serve, they'll be there.
Well, and it's interesting even how I came to Unity, because it was Vivian who was saying, I've known her as a singer for 30 years. And she says, oh, I'm starting, I have some new music. Do you want to come? And I always, they start so late in the jazz community, right? Like things don't start till 9, 10 o'clock. And I'm like, I got to be in bed, right? And she goes, no, it's 10:30 in the morning. And I said, okay, be there. And I never left. Right? Because I'm like, oh, this is my community. Okay, I can do this. Right? And so, it brought me one way because I'm supporting a friend and getting live music, and then you meet all the wonderful people, and it's like, of course you have to stay. Right?
So what's the step to go from, or first of all, how do you recognize that it's fear that's holding you back? How do you know that, I'm really not?
For instance, I'd be working on stuff on the computer, and, getting ideas together, and I'd be, 3 hours in. And then I'd be like, going, okay, this is good, you get in that mind gunk of your head, right? And then my computer shut down. Literally shuts down for 5 hours. I'm like, okay, well, I guess that wasn't what I was supposed to be writing. Okay, we'll start again. And so I instead of saying so much as fear, I say, well, is this the right path I'm going down? Because maybe that talk wasn't the right path. If my computer's saying, yeah, you're not listening, we're just going to shut you down, and you're going to refocus, and you're going to start going again. Okay, so I listen, right? And I never have fear if someone comes up. Say, you came up and said, can I talk to you? I'm like, I'm never in fear with them, because I know you're being divinely put in front of me, right? But then there's also times I'm walking down the mall, and I'd be like, picking up stuff, and I'm like, they're not coming towards me, so keep walking. It's not my place to go after you and say, oh, well, Source is saying blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, that's invading your privacy, and you might not want to talk about it. Right? And so I'll tell you, it's like, thanks for sharing. If I'm supposed to be sharing this message, you will put them in front of me in some way.
So is that something that you consciously asked, or was that a recognition that happened?
It was more of a learning of how to understand what I was feeling and seeing. Because I can pick up things in people's bodies without even knowing it. And then I'd be like, I didn't want to know that. Right? And so I used to be very cognizant of when I went out in public, to do some grounding and to do some protection and to do, just to protect my body, because I could come home with so much stuff. Right? And I'd be like, what is going on? And I'd spin out. And even in saying that, it was part of my journey to realize that my collection of everyone else's stuff was also the huge amount of weight that I put on. Without knowing it. Right? Because I felt if I kept on putting on more weight, then I'd be protected more. No, I just had more weight for everything to get stuck in. And so as I went on the weight loss journey, I realized I could protect myself going out from getting all the clutter. Because now I've actually raised to the unconscious consciousness. And I work with that energy every day in many, many ways of helping with the fear, helping with this transition of where we're going into the new world. Right? So personally, I want the new world here tomorrow. Like, I'm done with this one. Sorry. Sorry. Right?
So you said there are many things that you do every day. Give us an example. What's something that you do to?
Well, in my meditation, I call in the energies that are basically in fear at this time, and like through that, I'll work with the energies of people, and people come directly to me. I don't know who they are, but it's like that energy will come, and it's just like, I'm stuck, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, like, and I just through the many tools in my toolbox, I help shift it through, or yeah, it's. Yeah, this is why I'm scared to call you, because it's like, it's really hard to explain. Like the biggest way I can say it is like, okay, so if you're looking for a home, right? A new home, you want to move into this home, and you know the feeling you're going to get, and you go into some home. It's not saying that the home is bad. It's just for your energy, it's not aligning. So, but you really want this home. And so this is where I can help. It's like, I can come in and help clear out the other owner's energy to make it that your energy will love this home and prosperous in this home. And it's not a good or a bad. It's a dark energy, bright energy. It's just people have energy, right? Like everything has energy. Whether it's your coffee cup, whatever. I mean, it all, stuff gets stuck, and it's like shoveling the sidewalk. You just got to shovel it away. It's not that it's bad the snow fell. Just shovel it away, so you can have that clear path to where you want to go. And even when I was, at my last job in driving tour bus for people on holidays, every single trip I had at least 5 people doing a transition of something, right? Whether it's transitioning, becoming a grandparents, retirement, like actually transitioning from the earth, like, and I was just like, this is crazy, right? But also transitioning into a new life, because this is the first trip they've taken since they lost their spouse. Right? And then, so like that was an interesting story. So I was told that we have one on the bus. 3 days in at the 21-day trip, there was 4 of them that had just lost their spouse or trying to single life out. We had a blast, because I said, well, I'm the single side. I can totally explain the single side, right? And so it was just, so then, I had a friend laugh about saying, well, you're the transition bus, right? Like, I can see the sparkly bus going down the road, because, and then I remember when I was driving for school bus, and the parents are like, we don't know what you do to our kids, but they come home so calm. And they can share their bad day in a calm way. And I'm like, I'm just smiling, because I can't have the bus noisy. I can't have 50 kids going crazy, because that'll make me crazy, and then I can't drive. So of course I'm making the bus calm before we leave the school. I need it calm, so I can get your kids home safe.
So I'm hearing a couple of things here in what you're saying, and it's interesting, because when you were talking about clearing the energy of a home, it's not that it's good or bad. It's just not aligned with your energy. It's not in alignment. And John Stringer was a guest on my show not that long ago. And of course, we talked a lot about that alignment, right? Align, allow. And I think perhaps what you're doing when you were driving the school bus, driving the tour bus, was aligning the energy so that it felt good for you, and people could feel that aligned energy and kind of fall into that and feel good as well, right?
Yeah, and like, I mean, the first way, like for me, I mean, when I know I'm not aligned, I am so in my head, it's spinning. And I'm like, okay, this isn't going to get us anywhere. That rat nest up there is just left to be better left alone. So, like you say, drop into your heart. What is your heart saying? The heart will never lie to you. Your head lies to you all the time. Right? It's like, and it's honoring what your heart truly wants. And so when it comes to coming live, and I keep on asking, what does that mean? Are you ready for the world scale? What does that mean? Because then I go, I don't think so. But if that means helping the unconscious move to conscious, okay, I can do that. I'm safe in my home. I can do that. Does it mean public speaking in front of crowds, like hundreds of thousands of people? No. But maybe I'll get there. Right? Like, and so I'm saying I took the first step. Right? And I'll figure out what tomorrow's next step is.
Yeah. Or it will be revealed to you. Maybe you don't have to figure it out, right?
Well, and that's the thing, right? I mean, I remember, like, for instance, I was out walking one day and I was just like, oh, everything was sore and stiff, and I mean, I had this person's number close to 3 years, and I phoned her and I said, it's time, and she goes, it's time, and I went for a massage, and I was like, wow, why did I wait 3 years? Because we weren't aligned. And if I had gone earlier, she might have hurt me. Right? Because my body might not have wanted to be shifted as far as she could shift it. Right? Because for me, I can't just go to any massage therapist. They really have to understand energy and understand how many layers of like stuff is going on, because my body talks. So if you're intuitive, it's a very, very busy session. Right? Because it just starts talking and I'm like, whoa, yeah. So and that's kind of how I kind of work. It's like, you might call me about, oh, you're coming to the park? Yeah, okay. And then it's like, but the bigger thing of getting me to the park is whether you have to talk or someone needs me there. Because there's lots of things that I've been invited to that I'm like, yeah, no. It's not that I don't want to be there. It's just like, it doesn't feel right. Even though they're friends. But I have to honor my body and my space and where I am at that point in the day. And if it's a no, it's a no. And I used to push myself through that no, and I ended up burnt out over and over and over.
Listening, again, another key message that I've heard many, many times from many guests over these 40 shows.
Yeah.
You have to listen.
Well, we don't have a choice anymore. The energy is shifting so much on the earth, we don't have that choice anymore. We can't push to the brink of exhaustion because we're right now fully living exhausted. Right? And then how, like, even 10 years ago, we used to be able to work 10, 12-hour days and think nothing of it. Now, max, we're like 7.5, max. That's including getting ready, making dinners, like max. And if we're pushing over that, our body's going to shut us down again. And and the message I'm getting, that's just not for me, that's like worldwide. We are definitely getting in work smarter, work more efficient. The hard work days are over because the energy is too high for us to maintain at that level.
It's interesting that you say that. I know that I've certainly been feeling that myself.
Yeah.
When I'm determined to get some things done and I'm pushing through and I'm going for long hours, I just feel so exhausted after. So exhausted.
Well, and I mean, like, the odd day I do go, okay, like I'm really in the flow, I'm gonna go with the flow, but I honor my body the next day when it says, yeah, we're not getting out of bed for a while. Okay. Right? And I mean, the joke is that, like, and that's another thing I learned with the whole weight loss thing. Like, our bodies are different for a reason. I am not the get up and go person in the morning. Don't ask me to. Because I am the bear. I growl. Right? And so I have missed many morning things because I don't get up. It just doesn't work. Right? And even for today, I mean, 9 o'clock's not early, but for the bear, I don't usually. I don't even turn my phone on until 10 o'clock. So the fact that I'm sitting here, I've been up since 6
Wow.
because I need that time to just quietly do my routine, and then like other people are like, jump out of bed and run out the door and they're good, right? But they also hit the bed early
Yep.
at
That's
night.
my husband. That's my husband. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I'm like, well, I'm not an early bird, but I'm not a late bird. Like yeah, and learning that, and then I also realized like not only am I a bear in this program of weight loss, I'm also the bear in my totem pole. And when I figured that out, I started laughing. I said, of course I am, right? Because once a bear gets going, slow and steady wins the race, right? I always get everything done, but it's on my time, not on anyone else's time.
Well, that's listening to your body's way. That's listening to your natural rhythm and flow.
Yeah.
That's
But
very honor.
but think about it, when I had to be crack of dawn getting a bus ready, and we were still out on the road, way, way, way too late. And then they go, oh, but we want you to, and I'm like, you know what? I'd love to, but this body is saying caboose, right? Because like, especially in that industry, like part of your extra money or your tip money is how much you can socialize with them.
Mhm.
When you're running 12, 14-hour days, no socializing, sorry. This bear's got to go back to her dad, right? Like, turn off the noise, turn off the sound, like, right?
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, it's like, oh, it's just beautiful. Like, I got to see scenery all day long for a job. Like, who cares? I got 50 people and 45 feet of bus behind me, right? I'm in heaven. I'm playing in my mountains every single day. Yeah. So yeah, it's finding the joy in everything, and it's even through the hard stuff,
Mhm.
right? Because right now, um, people can call it whatever. We're having a mass exit.
Oh, sorry.
We're having a mass exit of people.
Oh, a mass exit. Yes.
Like, whether they call it COVID, whether they call it whatever, it's happening. I'm working with people to transition, um, and it's just they're saying we can do more by coming back, whether you believe in that stuff or not. They're saying, let us go now because we've done what we can do in this life. We're going to come back and we're going to help,
Mhm.
right? We're going to come back at that higher energy. And like, for instance, I been granted a great niece recently, a couple months ago. And you can see her, like, she's just, you know, you think she's sleeping, but her eyes are just going like crazy, like they're downloading. And I'm like, oh, you got stories to tell. We need to talk, right? Because it's just funny. Like, you think, oh, you're just sleeping, whatever. And then I'll tease it, like, oh, you're getting a good story. I can't wait to hear that. And she'll smile. And she's dead asleep. Like, so asleep. And it's just, I mean, kids are just so natural, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm working with someone right now. I'm doing some book guidance sessions with someone who
Okay.
is intending to write a book about the wisdom of youth.
Oh,
How there's so much wisdom in the heart of youth, but
yeah.
it gets squashed out by all the well-intentioned adults who are telling them how to live their lives
Yeah.
instead of allowing them to live how their heart wants to live.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about, yeah, babies are born with this natural joy, knowingness about a lot of things.
Because they're
But
so close to source.
yes, exactly.
They just left source.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that brings me back to another thing of, like, with the school bus, right? When everyone's like, oh, you want the school, you want the school. Okay, so I took the school because they had an opening. And I went, junior high? That was my nemesis of schooling days. I hated junior high. It was horrible for me. And then I'm like, And then I saw these beautiful angels. And I'm like, oh, you're giving me hope for reality again. Because it could change my way of how I looked at my junior high years to see how loving they were. Going, that's in the past. We're different. Right? And it was great. Because then I didn't look at junior high kids as equal anymore.
It's interesting. So I'm hearing you in your stories about your life and you and your approach that always perspective, shifting how you look at things.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Because, even if you look at a car accident or any accident, it's not an accident, it's an incident waiting to happen, to wake you up. Like when you look at a car accident and you say, what were you thinking the split second that, the two bumpers hit? You weren't thinking about an accident. You weren't even in your body. You were somewhere way down at the office. You were thinking about, I got to walk the dog. I got to stop and get this. You were there.
Yeah.
It was like, hello, wake up, get present. Right? And when you realize that, and like, for instance, I had an accident recently, and it was one of the things that kind of got me out of school bus driving. Was like, I didn't want to do it anymore. But where was I going? I don't know. So I'm sitting at my favorite place at the park at Bonas, and I'm like, let's see what going on holidays feels like to get paid for. And I phoned, got a job at a tour company, and I was gone in 5 days. Right? And then I came back 5.5 months later. Okay. Right?
Yep, that was fun. That was good. Did it. Now time to move on to something else.
And so it was interesting. And then like, for instance, I even went back to school, and I'm thinking, I still don't know why I went back. I don't want to do it. It'll help me in my company, I guess, for my own personal knowledge of when I'm doing contracts again, and for my company, because small businesses don't have time for mistakes. Right? You got to get the right hire. You got to get the right contract. You got to bring in the right supplies. And if you don't, then you can be sunk. And so I go, okay, well, that's maybe why I went back to school then. For me. Because I'm stepping out on the world scale now. What that means, well, stay tuned.
To be revealed.
Yeah.
So my goodness, I'm looking at the time and I'm going, how did that happen? 32 minutes. Like, that's really, holy smokes. So it is time to wind things up. So if people want to talk to you, if they're curious about getting aligned, clearing energy in their home, whatever, the way to reach Adele is on Facebook, Action Balance Clearing. And what are they going to find on your Facebook page?
Not a lot right now. I'm just rebuilding it. So right now I'm just kind of probing out different questions, different ideas, and would love to hear feedback. But I'm also just open to, if someone wants to call me, my number's on that. My business number is on the page.
Okay.
And open for a 15-minute conversation. No charge. Just that if you have questions, let's talk about it.
Cool.
Because it's, I don't want people to be sitting and stewing like I used to until I found my people. And if I'm the person that you're supposed to work with, we'll figure it out in the first 15 minutes. If not, maybe I know somebody that is better fitted, and I'll pass you on. For me, it's about you getting the help. It's not about the money or I need clients. Like, I'm not worried about that. I want people to get the help that they need when they need it.
Nice. Beautiful. That is service from the heart.
Yeah.
That is living from the heart. And that's why you're here on this show.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you would like to have a conversation with Adele, again, she's on Facebook, Action Balance Clearing. And in case there happens to be anybody that's not actually on Facebook, do you happen to know your business number? I'll put it on screen.
I have to look it up.
Yeah.
I just got it, so I don't
Oh, I shouldn't have put you on the spot like that.
Well, I know, because now I don't know where to look for it.
Okay, well, we'll have to ask. Everybody knows somebody who's on Facebook. Have your friend check
Oh,
Facebook.
here it is. 587
587
207
207
5322.
5322. Okay, so let me put that on screen. So there it is. That's how you
write
can
that down.
reach Adele. 587-207-5322. Okay, well, thank you. You know, Adele, you've touched on so many of the messages that have been covered in so many of these shows. Pay attention to your perspective. Be present to the moment. Listen to your heart. Listen to your body. Trust. Be in the flow and know that everything is going to work out as it's meant to. Don't see things as accidents. See them as incidents that have purpose, maybe to wake you up, to teach a lesson, to offer a gift in some way. All of these messages are repeated over and over in different ways through different guests on Living from the Heart. And so I thank you for being on the show this week. I'll invite everyone to stay tuned next week. Another wonderful, beautiful woman joining us. And we will just have to say ciao for now. And I'm going to just put up this little note reminding people there are more inspiring conversations with all of these guests I've been referring to on our YouTube channel, Best You Can Be. And if you prefer audio podcasts, you can definitely go to podcast.bestyoucanbe.ca and just grab whoever it seems right to listen to in the moment. Ciao for now. We'll see you next week.